Welcome back to the channel, fellas. Today, I'm bringing you Nebraska 2019-2020 college football season. How will the Huskers do, or will they go 8-4, 9-5 again? We'll start off the video by checking out their first game. Kirk is rocking with the Buffs against Nebraska. Out of conference, Pac-12, Big Ten. Who's going to take it home? Nebraska is B+ overall, B+ offense and defense, but Colorado's slightly better than them. They do have Colorado first, number 18. Then they take on the whole United States, the USA. Just kidding. That's South Alabama. Then they have Northern Illinois, Maryland, Northwestern Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, Penn State, Indiana, Michigan State, and Iowa. But that's a killer schedule right there. Let's check out what happens. Nebraska gets a pretty solid class here. A 77 overall defensive tackle, Jack Jackson. Let's check out the bottom and wish him luck. Marcus Smith, middle linebacker, 57 overall. Good luck. And Nebraska got locked out of 53 center overall. But Marcus Smith, we wish you luck on seeing the field. 57 overall. Good luck, my man. Back to the top here. And let's see what happened. Finalists for the Guy Award. Couple school records here. And they have 3 consecutive wins twice. And of course, 2 5-star prospects. Very interesting. They won 8 games this year. This is kind of a typical Nebraska year in the conference. They go 8-4 right behind Iowa. Let's check out what happened. Colorado, they lose by 7. That's not the worst thing in the world. They do go 10-2 overall this year. We go South Alabama. They kill them. They take on Northern Illinois and get smacked. Like, what? 42-14? And then they beat Maryland. They beat Northwestern and Illinois. And they get smacked by the number 1 team in the country, Michigan, at 10-2. Like, that's like a normal loss. But they beat Minnesota, Penn State, Indiana, and Michigan State. And then they get smacked by Iowa, number 5 overall. It's like, what is this team doing? Like, they just have no identity at all. Their losses are just so questionable. Like, what? How do you get smacked that bad multiple times in a season? So they do go 4th in the Big Ten. That's not the worst place to be. 6-2 in conference, but you got Michigan, Iowa, and Ohio State ahead of you. That's quite the trio. Let's check out what happened in the rest of college football. Top 25 polls. We do see Michigan number 1 overall at 10-2. Stanford, Oklahoma, and Alabama finish the top 4. No one undefeated though. Iowa number 5. Tulsa, we see Tulsa in the top pretty often now. Georgia, Ohio State, Colorado, and Texas. So that's the top 10 for it. No one undefeated. Everyone kind of playing a hard schedule. It seems Wake Forest number 13, though. I do not see that very often. Typically, Wake Forest isn't even in the top 25. You got UCF at number 19 there. You love to see what happens with those guys. And Ole Miss bringing up the rear at number 25, 8-4 overall. But kind of an interesting year in college football. No unanimous number 1. And Stanford and Alabama and Iowa all playing some pretty hard games against some top opponents. Lots of top 10 matchups coming up in the conference championship. Let's see what happens in the Heisman race just for giggles. We do see Scarlett, and we have Perry, Harris, Anderson from Oklahoma, and Hinton, the only QB. And Scarlett wins it. Stanford does not come in second. This is one of the biggest blowouts I've ever seen. He got 401 first place vote points, 1,800 yards on the ground, 22 touchdowns on the ground, 280 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. That's a really solid year for a running back. So good on you, Scarlett. Nebraska will be taking on South Carolina in the Capital One Bowl in Orlando. That's going to be a tough game for them. 8-4 versus 11-2. We do see Martinez with a school record 27 pass touchdowns. Spielman 13 receiving touchdowns. Good for a 40-plus year record. And Nebraska loses 7-35. We'll check out what happened in the game. But yeah, that's pretty crushing. Like, they just got crushed again. So South Carolina goes up 21-0 at halftime. Nebraska scores in the third for the first time, and yeah, that's not how you win a game. So we take a look at the offense there. We do see South Carolina with almost 500 yards of offense. Nebraska nowhere close, 180 on the ground, 312 through the air for South Carolina. Nebraska just does not look like they can keep up. They did have an interception. Nebraska does come up with the only turnover, but South Carolina does not need the time of possession to win the game. Very interesting. Typically, time of possession will go to the winner of the game. It's pretty close. It is almost 50-50 time of possession. But let's check out what happened. Michigan, number 1 overall. They beat Stanford. Stanford falls to number 4, but 36-17 doesn't seem like it was too close. The Big Ten comes away with a first national championship in quite a while. So very interesting to see that. Let's check out what happened overall in the season. The stats here. Martinez, over 2,600 yards, good for 28th in the country. We see Washington, over 1,000 yards, almost 1,100 yards, good for 63rd in the country. Spielman, 45th in the country with almost 900 yards of receiving. Thomas, 28 solo tackles. So no one great defensive performance for Nebraska. Steele with a couple sacks there. Lee with 4 interceptions, 63rd in the country. Yeah, that's not going to get it done. And Pickering, 46 yards, field goal, 76th best kicker in the country. That's not how you get it done. Thanks for sticking around. Peace.